The plot of the show centers on the murder of Maddie Nears, a teenage girl who discovers she was murdered there after waking up in a boiler room. The liminal region of Split River High, where the living and the dead coexist, but only the dead are aware of the presence of the living, has been introduced to her through death. The students who died on school property now spend their lives confined on campus as they attempt to proceed to the great hereafter. Simon starts the school spirits finale by looking around Maddie's home. He comes across her pendant, and Simon and Maddie both take a moment. Simon must bring Maddie's mother to school, she demands. She is beginning to think that her mother murdered her. Sandra is brought to the school by Simon, who then helps her find Maddie in a classroom. Sandra is questioned by Simon about why she is wearing Maddie's necklace. Maddie suddenly remembers her mother's attendance at the school on the day she vanished. Because Sandra is embarrassed by what transpired, she lied about seeing her daughter that day. Sandra had actually left treatment early and arrived at the school, it turned out. She started a new life out of the blue using the funds saved for Maddie's education fund. Maddie was devastated by Sandra's choice. To try to solve the problem, Maddie brought her mother down to the boiler room. Sandra persisted in being obstinate with Maddie, which led to Maddie breaking. Maddie said to her mother, "No one has cared for me since Dad passed away." She wasn't allowed to use the money. Maddie pulled off her jewelry and gave it to her mother out of frustration. Sandra accepted the jewelry and left. After remembering the incident, Maddie tells Simon, "She killed my spirit, but she didn't murder me." Claire is in the car keeping an eye out while Nicole and Xavier rummage inside an abandoned house. Claire hurries to alert Nicole and Xavier after spotting someone enter the building. Axir is struck by the unknown person's automobile as they flee, critically injuring him. Wally and Charlie conduct their own investigations as this is happening. They learn that Janet also perished in the same fire that claimed Mr. Martin's life. They have been misinformed by Janet and Mr. Martin. They learn that Mr. Martin has been recording their deaths when they discover his hidden hideout, also known as a fallout shelter. They'd also read a piece that implied Mr. Martin was the real cause of the fire. Since she began stalking Mr. Martin, Rhonda has been aware of his hideout in a fallout shelter. She demonstrates to Charlie and Wally the barrel that contains every item they had on them when they died. Maddie prepares her obituary and reads it to Simon because she thinks she's getting close to the answers. Maddie says, "The only person I can depend on is you. You have only ever loved me completely." However, Maddie must hear some rather awful news from Simon. Maddie is the one who has been breaking into homes all throughout town. It was she who struck Xavier. Simon thinks he has gone insane if he can see her at all. When Maddie attempts to stop Simon from leaving the school, she is relegated to the boiler room. She is at a loss for words when she is asked how there are two Maddies. Maddie rushes to investigate after hearing neighboring cries for assistance. A recollection suddenly returns to her thoughts. Maddie heard arguing when her mother abandoned her in the boiler room. The fallout shelter door was unlocked by her. "Don't move, Janet," Mr. Martin screamed as she saw him. Janet appeared to have taken over Maddie's physical body after she physically raced into it. That clarifies the reason Maddie has been robbing homes. At Split River High School, Maddie's spirit is imprisoned in the interim. Technically, Maddie is still alive. Maddie hurries back to the fallout shelter door in the present. Maddie is cautioned by Rhonda not to trust Mr. Martin and to be careful. That caution is a little too late now. He's already hiding out at the top of the steps. While these significant events are occurring at Split River High, Janet, in Maddie's body, is boarding a bus to leave the city. Bring on Season 2 of School Spirits, please. The Season 1 finale left a lot of questions unanswered.